Today, we are so privileged to have Fraser Browne join us today. So, good morning,
Hey,
Fraser.
hey, how's it going, guys?
Good, man. Coming to us live from your artist's boudoir.
Yes, yeah, it's murky and dark, and and it sounds okay. So that's what that's what we like.
It does the job. So this is where you go to when you're looking to get into creative space. And so, look, we can talk a lot about your solo work, and then also with the band as well. Tell me about like when you do get into that space to create. What happens for you? Do you have a particular moment where you go, look, I've got to disappear and come up with something, or do you allocate time each day? How does it happen for you?
Yeah, I'm I guess a little bit ADHD with stuff, so I actually like to schedule in time because if I kind of just go for whatever feels good, I don't really. I might not do it, so or I do it at the wrong times. Like 2 a.m. in the morning. Your neighbours don't really want to hear you wailing at 2 a.m. in the morning.
That is interesting.
Singing away.
It's a great thought because I think a lot of the creatives out there are incredible, but when they apply a little bit of discipline and structure to their lives, they can be incredibly productive as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I think I was really convinced on this by John Cleese, of all people. I don't know if he's in the public favour at the moment or anything, with his comments on Palmerston North a few years back. But anyway, but he's talked about like just carving out space for creation, and like, I think it was 40 minutes he said, and I took that and I was like, okay, this is really cool. Like if I could carve out space in my day, and I do a lot of freelance stuff to do with music or audio, so education and production now as well. And so I just basically just put things in my calendar and book it, and I treat myself like a client rather than treating myself like a secondary thing. I go, right, this is my Fraser Evan time, and when I come back to it, Paper Cranes, same thing. But like I really like to be diligent about carving out quite a few hours if I can a week, and because my home studio is at home, it doesn't tax me too much. I could schedule something at 2 a.m. in the morning, I guess. So
Yeah.
and I kind of have, and so
Depends how soundproof your bedroom is, right?
Well, we've spoken to a few
it's pretty
musos
good.
about how they get their music career working alongside, say, their pay the rent careers, and maybe there's a moment where you can transition from one fully into the other. But you've talked about how you're kind of making that balance work. Can you tell us more about that? So you're doing other freelance work. What things do you do besides creating your own music as well to kind of maybe help one fund the other, or what's the approach that you take?
Yeah, I feel like against all odds, I feel like in some ways I shouldn't be able to do this, but because I think the world's moving away from maybe this scenario, but like I just sort of have fallen on my feet with doing a lot of music related things recently. So either education, mentoring, coaching people, working with their releases. I'm not great at social media, but sometimes help with social media and things like that. And by the time I used to be a writer. I used to write and be a sub editor. So sub editors basically rewrite writing, if that makes sense. So I do occasionally do some sub editing and writing work, but it's just got less and less. And I think with AI sort of stuff that people are kind of doing a lot of their own writing and whatever. So it just ended up being more and more music. So I'm just going to roll with this as long as I can because it's so fun. I'm enjoying life, enjoying my time here, and I do try to get outside because it is pretty dark and murky, like you said. It's like you got to get some sunshine.
Well, it is important for artists. I actually remember going to a tutorial with an incredible producer. I can't actually remember his name, but he said one of the keys for him in terms of staying mentally well, productive and creatively healthy was actually to make sure he spent at least 10 minutes outside, because it was very tempting for him to kind of stay down in his bunker and mix and engineer and mix and master and do all that. But actually he needed to go outside to refresh his ears, but also to like get some vitamin D because it was important for his health and well-being. But let's talk about your
100%.
independent projects. So you are one half of the Paper Cranes, but you're also Fraser Evans with your own music, and we're about to play your latest track, My Whole Life. So could you quickly tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind this song?
Yeah, so when it came out, we had a chat then, and I can't remember exactly what I said, but yeah, it's just really sort of a summary of my whole life. That's the title, and I originally called it First Fruits, like bringing our first fruits to God, and just my realization that maybe I hadn't been doing that very well. And even with Paper Cranes stuff, I think we tried to do that at the start, and then maybe somewhere along the way lost our side of that a little bit. So it's just like a refocusing. And yeah, again, Paper Cranes not necessarily wrapping that up. I definitely want to bounce between the two projects. So, but yeah, so the song's really about just that realization and realizing that God can take good and bad and ugly and beautiful and everything that we are, is, with a healthy dose of repentance and, honesty with God. It really, he's there for us, and he won't ever leave or forsake us. And he loves us deeply. But if we bring like our best offering, I think that really does please him. I hope that sums up what I'm supposed to.
I think it does.
What
Yeah,
the question
makes
was, but
sense.
yeah.
It makes sense to us. Well, here is the track then under the banner of Fraser Evans, this one. This is My Whole Life.
Great track there, and really love how you just talked about it before, how it's bringing the first fruits and bringing everything to God with a healthy dose of repentance. I love that.
Thank you. That's cool. I don't even remember saying that. So great during the morning.
Do you ever find that when
yeah.
you've been working on a song and then you go away and you come back to it later on, you're like, oh, that was a good idea?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is one of those moments. Like I'd had a lot of recording over the first lockdown, and this is one of the first tracks from there, I think. So it's quite old actually. And then like a couple of years passed. I wrote some other songs. I've got an EP coming out for Fraser Evan, and it's I shouldn't talk too much about that, but it's got a few tracks on it. But yeah, I wrote this one before them, and then when I opened up the session, I was like, oh my gosh, this song is like, I really like this song. Wow, okay. And it just ended up, for one reason or another, feeling like it was better to release this one first. And
It's so fascinating how you can go back on a time like COVID and go, oh, that was an awful time. But then, oh, I was actually highly productive during that time. Wow. Well, let's talk about
100%.
what it's like to be a New Zealand music artist. What do you think are some of the challenges for New Zealand musicians right now in this industry in 2025, especially being a Christian artist?
Yeah, that's a great question. Challenges and opportunities, I'd say as well. Like, so I'm seeing, I don't know if other people are seeing this, but there seems to be some sort of revival happening in the US, at least, with Christian music. So artists sort of like shelving their secular careers and doing worship music. So, like Forrest Frank with, I think it was Surfaces or whatever, and a bunch of other guys that I noticed that are sort of, hey, actually, I'm Christian.
I'm waiting
which is
for
really
another
cool.
Snoop Dogg worship album. That's the other one I'm waiting for.
Or
His gospel
Kanye.
album was great.
Oh.
No, Snoop Dogg's gospel album was awesome. 10
Oh,
out of
wow.
10. Highly recommended.
I mean, if that happens, that's amazing. That's a true story there. But yeah, so challenges, I think there's also opportunities. And I think for New Zealand musicians in general, it's always like probably cash flow, like having enough money to get things done. So I think one of the challenges would be, how much of this can I safely do on my own without like external help?
Sure.
Like mixing, or can I master the song myself? Can I mix it myself? Can I do this? And I think for me, it's track by track. So some of the tracks I don't want to mix, and then other tracks I feel like I have to mix. It's just so hard to sort of translate it to someone else, and then so that's a challenge. Like the temptation to do everything yourself, but know when to not do everything yourself, and get a
Because
team
that's
running.
really interesting. I think when you go through the process, and having studied audio at Mains and stuff, figuring out that there's a reason why there are like dedicated professionals to various aspects of the project. Like you've got your songwriters and arrangement people, you've got your producers, you've got your mixing engineer, you've got your mastering engineer, and you realize that these people that do those different roles are so good at what they do. It takes them like way less time than it would take one person who doesn't really know what they're doing to try and do all those 5 different things, right?
Yeah, I feel like the way it was traditionally mapped out really made sense to me. Like the more I get into it, I'm like, oh, okay, now I get why there's like a recording engineer. Oh man, a mix engineer makes a lot of sense here. But also sometimes I think that there's an opportunity there for artists to like really zone in on the nitty gritty and go, oh, actually, I want the specific sound and I want it to do this and whatever, and just really go to town on it. But yeah, like I said, so there's a balance thing. Sometimes it's like it's a challenge, and other times it's a beautiful thing to be able to do everything yourself.
And often those lessons too come to us, and stumbling along and making mistakes as we go too, and becoming comfortable with that sort of process of learning. Have you had to experience that for yourself too?
Yeah, I think so. Over the last 5 years, I just had a lot of time in the room, and part of that was obviously lockdown. And I was like, I really need to like get back into my production a lot more. So I'd done like a diploma course at a Polytech over here, and ended up teaching there as well, to be honest.
Wow.
And or tutoring. I shouldn't call it teaching. I was tutoring. But anyway, yeah. So over COVID, I was just like, oh man, I've got all this time, and I really could just watch a whole lot of videos on production and so on. So I signed up for a bunch of courses, and some were amazing, some weren't so great. But I did like really go really deep in that time. So yeah, it's interesting. Out of some hard times can come some like really good things out of it, and you work really really hard and have time to focus on stuff, and also in one way or another, spending a lot of time with my kids and some. Naomi was an essential worker, so not so much with her, but there was some really cool things about that.
Yeah. And Naomi is actually one half of the Paper Cranes as well. And
yes, yeah.
that is
I
so
keep
cool
naming
that you
her.
guys have this project that you can actually do together. And I can imagine it's challenging to try and fit in time as a family with kids to try and, record music together and do that. So we know that you're planning to get back into that. But let's talk about one of the songs that we have on our playlist that we love from the Paper Cranes before we go into it. Could you quickly tell us again what Runaway is all about?
Oh, Runaway, yeah, sweet. So that was from the road home. It's probably one of the first ones we wrote there for that album. Although, like, I recall writing like over 60 tracks. It was crazy. Anyway, trying to get the sound right, and yeah, it's just about, I guess, trying to escape to a good place with someone you love, and I guess running away from your troubles in a way. So, like, in terms of like a spiritual aspect with the Fraser Evans stuff, it's sort of something I might not write about now, but also I get it, like we all have those times when we're like, oh, I really want to just get out of here. I want to, run away, get out with you, sort of thing. And yeah, like it's kind of carefree and fun track, and yeah, really, really likes this one.
Yeah, well,
was
look,
great writing it.
Whether it's new music from Paper Cranes or from Fraser Evan, we still look forward to hearing no matter what you've got on the offing, mate. So keep us posted, even with that EP in the works. Now that you've teased it, we're all on tenterhooks waiting for it. But for now, here it is, Paper Cranes, Runaway. Fraser, thanks again for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks guys. Appreciate the time.
Amazing. I hope you enjoyed that as much as we did.
Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe and turn your notifications on so you don't miss the next video.
We'll see you in the next one.